Alright, in this video we will be taking a look at yet another person crying about Dark Souls and Elden Ring and demanding an easy mode. Now, From Software games and easy mode begging is tale as old as time, so you're probably wondering from what ancient hole of YouTube did I pull this shit from. And surprisingly enough, this video is very recent. The title of this video is Dark Souls and Elden Ring do indeed need easy modes, but not for the reasons you think. And with the like to dislike ratio looking like that, you already know we're going to be absolutely blown away by this guy's arguments. In what way? Let's find out.
Dark Souls and Elden Ring do indeed need easy modes, but not for the reasons you think. What's up guys, Acer Thorn here, and this is my 2 cents on From Software's 2 most popular franchises.
Well, starting off pretty strong here, already putting up a shield of "this is just my opinion" to deflect criticism.
When it comes to the debate of whether or not these games need easy modes, it usually boils down to 2 main arguments. First, in favor of easy modes is the argument of accessibility. If an easy mode were added to the games, more people would be inclined to play the games, thereby increasing its sales and popularity. And as long as the mode was optional, it wouldn't intrude on anyone who doesn't want the mode in it. On the other hand, opponents of an easy mode argue that the challenge is the whole point of these games, so an easy mode would just gut the games. They further argue that those who fail to get good honestly don't deserve to play Dark Souls or Elden Ring, and that if they want to have fun with these games, they need to earn their fun.
Well, that's a pretty disingenuous way of presenting the other side of the argument. The reason people don't want an easy mode in From Software games is simply because the entire point of these games is to break away from the traditional hand-holding in video games. It's not about gatekeeping you from having fun like you're trying to put it. It's about challenging the player and having them work to overcome the challenge instead of downgrading the difficulty, which ultimately feels all the more satisfying, which is why people like it.
Now, when it comes to traditional arguments, that's really all there is to it. It's mostly just these 2 arguments being shouted on an endless loop, with no further development, because each side sees their argument as singularly definitive in the debate, while simultaneously seeing the other side's argument as patently frivolous. For this reason, no side feels the need to consider anything further, because each side feels their own arguments are enough.
Damn bro, that's crazy. Do you mind showing any examples so that we know you aren't pulling this shit out of your ass? No? Okay, moving on.
However, there's actually a third argument to this debate, and it's one that I feel breaks the tie in the debate, causing easy modes to ultimately win out.
So he is literally trying to imply that these are the only 2 arguments that people are using to argue for or against easy modes, and is now going to present an argument that is going to dismantle the one he disagrees with, which he already presented in such a way that it seems wrong by default. So, in short, he doesn't want to tackle actual arguments, he wants to put up a straw man which he presented as an actual argument, while he knows full well that is not an actual argument.
But before we can talk about that, let's talk about the FromSoft fan base. The most popular video on my channel as of the time of this writing is one where I explain that I feel Elden Ring sucks. Not because of any of the story or game mechanics, I literally haven't even played the game.
So let me get this straight. He claims that the game sucks and that it needs an easy mode, and is trying to pretend to understand the argument around easy mode without even playing the fucking game. Seriously. How can you claim that the game needs an easy mode without even knowing what the difficulty is like because you haven't experienced it? This guy is such a fucking clown.
But because the FromSoft fanbase is so incredibly toxic.
Well, here we go. Their fanbase is toxic because I said so. But here's my question. What does the game's fanbase have to do with the difficulty of the game? What does the fanbase have to do with anything in the game in general? This honestly just seems like a pathetic attempt to downplay the people on the other side of the argument to make himself seem more right.
Then it kills the game for me just on fanbase toxicity alone.
Better hope he doesn't discover Minecraft, but how soft do you have to be that a fanbase of a, for the most part, single player game makes you not want to play the fucking game? Do I even have to say anything here?
I don't even have to play the game myself to have this opinion, because by that logic, you can't really judge Fred fucking Phelps unless you've actually participated in his little religious cult firsthand.
That is probably the worst comparison I've ever heard. You can criticize someone's cult or ideology without being a part of it, because you can disagree with the actions of people in it. You can also criticize a game's fanbase without being a part of it for the same reasons. However, in your case, you don't really have room to talk, considering you're calling them toxic without a single argument. However, you cannot judge the difficulty of a game without having experienced it firsthand, because you wouldn't know what it's like. Wow, mind fucking blown.
The vast majority of FromSoft fans are the kinds of toxic shitheads that you would expect to find lurking among the deepest bowels of the dark web. From the point of view of a vast majority of them, everyone in the world can be lumped into two categories. Either you absolutely worship the ground that Dark Souls and Elden Ring walk on and would sell your soul for the chance to stand in the shadow of Hidetaka Miyazaki's ass for even a split second, or they are a bunch of filthy casuals who need to kill themselves. There is no in between.
I find it incredibly ironic how he is trying to criticize FromSoft fans for the same thing he is doing right now. The only difference being that he does legitimately act this way, but as for the FromSoft fanbase, the vast majority of people who play their games don't act this way. So when he's trying to claim that they do, he's just projecting his own actions onto them.
I previously did a live stream debate on the toxicity of the From fanbase. In it, my debate partner showed me a Reddit poll where a lot of people insisted that the fanbase isn't actually that toxic. If you want to hear the counter-arguments I've already made to that little piece of so-called evidence, go ahead and check out the archive of that video.
If it's anything like this one, I don't really have high hopes for your arguments.
Instead, I have a new counter-argument to make. Yeah, unlike you guys, I actually update and evolve my arguments. Anyway, the problem with this poll is that it doesn't take into account people who believe the toxicity is fully justified. See, a lot of people tend to subconsciously believe that whenever some sort of adverse action has a moral justification to it, that's basically the same thing in their minds as it not even being an adverse action in the first place.
Are you saying it doesn't? So if someone punches you in the face, are you not allowed to defend yourself? This is literally the argument that he is making, but he's just that stupid to not realize it.
For example, if you kill in self-defense, that's basically the same thing as not killing at all. At that point, the victim effectively killed himself.
This shit writes itself at this point.
This applies to toxic behavior as well. Take, for example, this Reddit post, where the OP insists that he's not the asshole because he's treating a rapist with the respect he feels rapists deserve. Now, from an objective standpoint, he is indeed being super toxic towards this guy.
So we should respect literal fucking rapists now. Are you fucking kidding me?
But he doesn't see it that way. He sees his actions as being completely morally justified.
No shit, because this is a fucking rapist. This is a literal piece of inhuman shit. But if you take a look at the post in question, the guy didn't even do anything outlandish, he just misgendered the piece of shit. Are we seriously acting like hurting someone's feelings by using a non-offensive word they don't like to refer to them is on the same level as fucking raping someone?
Because of this, he doesn't even see himself as toxic at all. Justified toxicity is tantamount to lack of toxicity in the first instance. Now, for most of you, you can probably very easily tell the difference right now between justified toxicity and no toxicity.
No shit, but you cannot seem to grasp the difference between being the instigator and being provoked.
But that's probably solely because I literally just spelled it out for you. Yes, it's an easy enough concept to understand, but only when you are actively thinking about it.
It's an easy concept to grasp, period. Not everyone has their IQ below room temperature like you.
When left to your instincts, the knee-jerk reaction for the vast majority of people is to subconsciously think of justified toxicity as being fundamentally no different than no toxicity at all, and therefore deserving of identical treatment. That being said, let's turn again to the Reddit poll that my livestream debate opponent showed me. The second most popular response was that the community is actually wholesome and not toxic. But we have no way of knowing how many toxic shitheads voted that way solely because they feel that the toxicity that filthy casuals receive at the hands of the true FromSoft fans is actually justified.
If you are their competition, I think they are fucking saints in heaven. Like, holy shit. How are you going to call them out for being toxic when you act like this? You really don't have any room to talk.
Which in their warped view is tantamount to not being toxic at all. So no, until I see unambiguous and unfakeable evidence to the contrary, I still stand by my initial argument that the vast majority of the FromSoft fanbase is exceedingly toxic.
Ah yes, guilty until proven innocent. You can tell this guy lives on degenerate sites like Twitter and Reddit.
Well, the From fans who believe that their games shouldn't have easy modes also tend to overlap almost entirely with those who believe that toxicity towards anyone who isn't head over heels in love with the games is totally justified and therefore not toxic at all.
Only the top tier fanboys think like this, not the vast majority, but I don't understand why the person making the argument matters more than the actual argument. By that retarded logic, we can throw all your arguments out the window the very instant they fly out of your mouth.
After all, their reasoning for not wanting easy modes in these games is, in itself, gatekeeping and elitist. They don't want easy modes because they feel that anyone who isn't the most hardcore of hardcore gamers doesn't deserve to play this game anyway. Once you've disconnected from reality to that degree, your sanity is already past the point of no return.
Are you talking from experience?
So acting like Dark Souls and Elden Ring are literal deities is honestly small potatoes at that point. In other words, those who feel that Dark Souls and Elden Ring are better off without a bunch of filthy casuals stinking up the place are certainly of the same ilk that would feel like being extremely toxic to these people is morally okay.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for those examples. Oh wait, who am I kidding? There are no examples. He's literally talking out of his ass.
So how does this translate to the games being better off if they had easy modes?
It doesn't. It literally fucking doesn't, but go off, queen.
Well, if easy modes were implemented, the true FromSoft fans would likely throw a big-ass temper tantrum. They would scream, kick, break a lot of things, and those of us who actually live in the real world would have a nice hearty laugh.
First of all, you certainly don't live in the real world. Second, so your reasoning for why From Software should add easy modes is to piss off these hypothetical people you're talking about. What in the actual fuck is this?
And once that happens, the toxic shitheads will likely boycott FromSoft fans in mass droves.
Yeah, you definitely don't live in the real world. If they are massive FromSoft fanboys like you claim, they would buy the game regardless.
This will cause the game's fan bases to dwindle at first, but now that the fan bases have become significantly less toxic thanks to their exclusion, more and more casuals will swoop in to fill the void in the fan base left by those toxic shitheads, thereby restoring balance to the universe.
So let me get this straight. Your argument for why easy mode should be added is that people don't feel excluded. Yet in your perfect scenario, you want the quote toxic players to be excluded. But last I heard, you're not allowed to act that way because that makes you just as bad. But of course, rules for thee and not for me.
While the toxic shitheads get to do nothing but wallow in their own misery. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I believe that Dark Souls, Elden Ring, and every other game made by From Software all need to have easy modes included in them. It's not to make the games themselves better, it's to make the fan base better by doing pest control on the worst that humanity has to offer.
So you want them to do pest control on you? This guy's self-awareness is in the fucking negatives, holy shit.
So with that said, I bid you all adieu. Acer Thorn out. Peace!
And with that, we are finally done with this dogshit video. Just so you guys know, when I first downloaded this video to respond to it, I did not know he was going to be defending, well, what he was defending. So yeah, I just hope that this video can get monetized. I really don't think there is anything more to say here. Oh, by the way, keep an eye out on the community posts in the coming days, because I have been working on a Discord server for the channel. So if that's something you're interested in, you wouldn't want to miss it. In the meantime, be sure to like and subscribe to boost me in the algorithm. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.